So when I was little, I would lie all the time. I would lie about what my parents did for a living, what I did over the weekend. I would embellish and make up cool things that I had done. I had no reason to do this because my parents did have pretty cool jobs and we actually did do cool things pretty often. But I wanted to seem cooler than I actually was because on the inside I felt so insecure and I felt like I wasn't impressive enough. And when I got older, I found myself still kind of doing this. I would lie or I would omit certain things, not tell people certain things because I wasn't sure how they were going to take it. They were going to ask me all these questions, so they weren't going to understand. Until one day I realized that I don't have to do this for people to accept me. I don't have to lie for people to accept me. The only person I have to worry about accepting me is me. So if you want to learn the steps I took toward breaking down my negative self-image and building a new one, then keep on watching. Hello and welcome. My name is Melissa from thepurposecoaching.com, and today I want to talk to you about improving your self-image. We have talked on this channel before about John Maxwell and his book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, which is all about how to grow yourself, and it's an awesome book. And one of the laws is called the law of the mirror, which states that you must see value in yourself in order to add value to yourself. People don't reach their potential because of low self-esteem. One of the main problems I see is that while you may have high hopes and high goals, if you have a bad self-image of yourself, you're not going to get there very fast or at all. I want to ask, you like what you see in the mirror. You need to recognize the value you do have and then begin to add to it. When you invest in yourself, you will see more value because yes, you are worth investing in yourself. So these steps are to help you accept you. Just because maybe your parents or your teachers or your friends told you something about yourself doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to accept what people say about you as true. Only what you think about you is true because you know yourself better than anybody else. So without further ado, these are the 10 steps to improve your self-image. Step number 1, guard your self-talk. So self-talk comes from our upbringing. So we heard our parents telling us certain things, or our teachers, or family. That's where it came from. So it's not true. It can be changed. It can be altered. So why would you add more problems to yourself by believing this self-talk that we've been brought up to believe? Step number 2, stop comparing yourself to others. You're either going to feel bad about yourself or you're going to feel proud of yourself. Just don't do it. Just compare yourself to your old self. If you're constantly growing, if you're constantly improving, then you are always going to be proud. But generally, you don't know what someone else is going through. Because of Instagram, it's very easy for us to feel bad about ourselves and be like, oh, I wish I had that life. You have no idea what they're going through. People show you what they want to show you on Instagram. So just compare yourself to your old self and continue to strive for growth. Step number 3, move beyond your limiting beliefs. You need to believe that you're going to be great later. Even if there's no evidence of that now, you need to believe that it's going to happen. If you limit what you can do, you're ultimately limiting what you're going to do. Does that make sense? If you limit what you're going to do in the future, you're still limiting yourself right now. Because you don't know what you're going to do in the future. Life changes so fast. A year ago, I did not think I'd be here right now. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit to what you can do later. You never know. To kind of help you out with this part, because I know it's easier said than done, here's a couple things you could do to help with limiting beliefs. The first is identify what the limiting belief is. There's usually a reason, Maybe you heard something at some point, or maybe you saw something that made you believe that this thing here is going to be hard or impossible. So first, figure out what that is exactly. Next is determine how it limits you. We all have beliefs, and some beliefs protect us, and some beliefs also limit us. So once you've identified what the belief is, identify how it's limiting you, because it is limiting you in some way. Maybe do certain things because of that belief, or maybe you always wanted to try something, but you never do because of that belief. Identify how it's holding you back exactly. Next is decide how you want to be. So just because you have this limiting belief doesn't mean it has to define you, doesn't mean it's set in stone. You can choose to believe something different. So it doesn't mean you have to change it right now, but just start to picture, how would you want to be? If you didn't have this limiting belief holding you back, how would you want to be? Start to picture it. And lastly, create a turnaround statement that reinstates your new belief. So if you're going to try to erase this old belief, you can't just erase it, you have to replace it with a new one. And this is where maybe the positive affirmations may come in. So when I say this, I don't really believe in when people say, for example, someone that's disorganized, If someone's disorganized and they're a mess, they've always been like that. I don't think it's realistic to tell them, oh, well, just start saying you're organized. Start chanting, I'm organized, I'm organized, I'm organized. Yeah, it's going to help, but you can't change from night and day like that either, But if you replace it with something like, I can learn to be organized, because you can. There's so many YouTube videos, there's books, you can learn to be organized. That's absolutely realistic. So I would suggest when you choose what your new belief is going to be, try to go something that's a little more like in the middle. Obviously, the ultimate goal is in the end, but if you're going to believe it, you have to believe it, you know? So maybe you can't believe, like, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be organized, but maybe you can't believe that, you know what, I can learn to be organized. I can take a class, I can watch a video, I can watch a few videos, I can learn how to be organized. And start with that. Step number 4, add value to others. So it's kind of hard to feel bad about yourself when you're helping others. As I've mentioned to you guys before, you can't feel two different emotions at the same time. So a great way to help your self-image is to help other people. And you'll find it's hard for you to have a pity party or be like, you know, poor me, when you're helping somebody else, when you're being of service, because you're doing a good thing. So you're going to feel proud, you're going to feel accomplished, you're going to be fulfilled. Step number 5, do the right thing even though it's hard. This is just like a values thing. I have found sometimes that my bad self-image is from mistakes, you know, from guilt of not doing the right thing, not doing what I was supposed to do, not being true to myself. And that's one thing I for sure could tell you is if you are not doing the right thing, if you're doing something that's making you feel ashamed or not good about yourself, or, you know, worse, if you're hurting somebody else, yeah, you're definitely gonna have a bad self-image. That's a choice right there. We all choose every day. We make decisions, the right thing or the wrong thing. We all know what that is. That's step number 5, plain and simple. Always do the right thing even though it's hard. Step number 6, practice a small discipline daily. So you can apply this in any area of your life, whether it's health related, spiritual, but knowing that you have the skill you're working on to improve yourself will automatically lift up your self-image. I know it's hard because we have work all day and the last thing we want to do is like have like more work outside of it, but this is for you. This does not have to be like something like, oh, I have to work out or I have to do this. No, pick something that you like, that you want to improve about yourself, you know, make it like part of your you time, part of your self-care if you want. Step number 7, celebrate small victories. I've really had to work on this for myself because there have been times in my life where I accomplished a lot. I never really made a big deal of it. I was always just like, oh, okay, great, you know, and move on into the next thing. And then I would hit a point in my life where I was down, you know, I wasn't accomplishing anything. And I would think back to those good times in my life and I'm like, why didn't I celebrate? Why didn't I make a big deal of it, you know? Even if it's not maybe by standards a big deal, it's a big deal to me. It's kind of like appreciate when you have it. You're really going to wish you had made a big deal in the times in your life when you're going through a rough patch, when you're going through a bad time. You're going to think back to those moments and be like, man, you know, that was a good time in my life. I should have celebrated more. So celebrate, make a big deal. Step number 8, embrace a positive vision of your life. So it's important that you have a positive outlook about your life and where you are. Even if you're not where you want to be right now, still, you know, learn to enjoy the process. Even if you're struggling and if you're going through the bad stuff, it's all happening for a reason. It's all part of your journey, you know? So look at it in a positive way, regardless of what's happening. Step number 9, pick one way of being. So I want you to pick one word to describe yourself and focus on it. Because what you focus on expands. A lot of people like to pick maybe like one word a year for themselves, but whatever that one word is, make sure it's something that you feel that's you, you know? Even if not necessarily it is right now, but it's what you want to be later. Just one, because if you focus on too many things, you're not going to give it the right attention and it's not going to happen. What you focus on expands, so pick one word and focus on it. Step number 10, take responsibility for your life. Now we're going to touch on this subject in a later video, but basically wherever you are in your life right now is because of you, based on decisions you made or you haven't made. Now, I always want to be careful when I talk about this because I know there are certain situations where things happen to people that they did not choose. I know that they did not want that for themselves, but what happens after is up to you. You can't choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you react to it. That phrase still rings true. Where you are in your life right now is because of you and the decisions you've made. Otherwise, how could we have people that have been through horrible ordeals? They've been kidnapped or they've experienced things we can't even imagine. And some people come out empowered. They come out giving talks and giving speeches and trying to help make sure other people don't go through what they went through. And then there's people that just never come out of it. Through the depression, they start doing drugs or something to try to numb the pain. And and it's a choice. Those people chose to take responsibility and make sure that this doesn't happen to anybody else, and the others chose to go the other way. That's how I can confidently say that this rule number 10, and why it's the last one, is the most important, because if you can either go about your life thinking you don't have a choice and that things happen to you, or you can go about your life thinking that you have a choice and that things happen for you. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you like what you heard, please hit the subscribe button, like this video, and comment below which of these steps you can't wait to apply to start building your self-image.